Hi, second graders. Today I'd like to do a read aloud with you. And as I do this read aloud, I want you to be thinking about two things. The first thing that I want you to be thinking about is character traits. And at school, we learned that character traits tell us what a person is like on the inside. We can tell what they're like on the inside by paying attention to what they say in the story, what they do in the story, and what they think about in the story. So I want you to think about character traits of the animals. Think about what they say, do, and think so we can determine some inside traits. The other thing I want you to think about as we read this story is I want you to think about what the lesson in the story is. The story is called Ribbit by Rodrigo Folguero. Here we go. Once upon a time, there was a pond that was home to a family of frogs. It was their pond, and they were very happy living there. But one morning, they discovered a surprise visitor. It was a pig, a little pink pig sitting on a rock. Goodness, said the frogs. Why is there a pig in our pond? They whispered amongst themselves until finally the chief frog spoke up. Good morning. What can we do for you? And to their amazement, the little pig answered, Ribbit. What did he say? Cried the frogs. This pig is confused. Does he think he's a frog? Is he making fun of us? I want you to stop on this page and I want you to think about what the animals are saying. One frog is saying, is he making fun of us? That almost seems like his feelings are hurt and he thinks that the pig is poking fun. So on the inside, I would say he's offended and hurt. Another frog is saying, does he think he's a frog? I think he might be confused. So on the inside, I actually think it's the frogs that are kind of feeling a little bit confused because they're thinking, what is a pink pig doing at a pond where really frogs are supposed to live? So I'm thinking that maybe the frogs are feeling a little hurt at this point and they are very confused. The pig just continued to say, Ribbit. News of the little pig who thought he was a frog spread fast, and all the animals hurried to the pond to see the visitor. This new relative of yours is a little pink, said the raccoon. He's no relative of ours, declared the frogs. He certainly sounds like a frog, said the weasel. Why would a pig want to be a frog? Said the parrot. And what's wrong with being a frog, may we ask? Exclaimed the frogs. Everyone started shouting at each other, completely ignoring the little pig, who just sat there practicing his ribbit. I want you to think about the pig at this point, and I want you to think about what the pig has been doing. He comes to the pond, he parks himself on a rock, and he practices saying ribbit over and over again. What does that tell us about what kind of a pig he is? What's he like on the inside? One of the words that we've talked about at school is a P word. It's that don't give up, being very persistent. So I would say on the inside, the pig is very persistent. I'm going to also say on the inside, I mean, after all, pigs don't usually say ribbit, do they? So I'm going to say that he's a bit of a free spirit and he's not afraid to take risks. So maybe even calling him a risk taker because he's going out on a limb and He's acting like a frog, which is not a normal thing to do. So on the inside, I think I would say he's persistent and he's a risk taker. You might have something to add to my list. Back to the story. The animals laughed and laughed, and the frogs got angrier and angrier until finally the chief frog shouted out, "Stop! We're not getting anywhere by fighting. We must go and find the wise old beetle. He'll know what to do." "The wise old beetle!" gasped all the animals. "But he hates to be disturbed." "I know," said the chief frog, "but this is very serious." "That's true," the animals agreed, and off they went. And the little pig sat there saying, "Ribbit," again, not giving up. The animals found the wise old beetle and tried to explain the problem. It was hard for him to understand because they were all talking at once. In the end, he agreed to go with them to the pond. But when they arrived, no pig. "Where did the pig go?" the animals cried. "Who was he? What did he want?" "Maybe," said the wise old beetle, "he just wanted to make new friends." And off he went. I want you to think about what the beetle said and what that might tell us about what he's like on the inside. Maybe he just wanted to make new friends. I'm thinking the beetle took the time to go back to the pond with all of the animals. So that tells me he's a very helpful beetle. He's a very caring beetle because he's trying to help them solve their problems. You might even say he's very clever or wise because I think he clued into really why the pig was at the pond, trying to make new friends. You may have some other ideas to add. Back to our story. "Oh dear," said the animals. "They hadn't thought of that." Oh, look at the animals' faces and their expressions. How are they feeling on the inside right now? Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they're feeling badly because they did not treat the pig very well. And I think they kind of regret their behavior and the fact that they were unkind. Tweet! And sure enough, sitting on a branch high up in a tree nearby was the little pig. Tweet, 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 tweet. He was surrounded by new friends. What do you think the lesson of this book is? You know, the lesson usually has to do with the things that happen to the main character. In this case, think about what happened to Pig in the book and try to determine the lesson. You're right. Pig shows up at a pond. Nobody really seems to want him there, but he stays and he stays and he stays. When everybody leaves, he ends up leaving too and finding another place to go. Hmm. When I think about that, the frogs all thought the pig was very different and they really didn't understand why he was there. He just really didn't belong. So I'm going to think that the lesson in this story may be, you know, it really doesn't matter if you look different on the outside. It's much more important to get to know a person, get to know what they're like on the inside, because after all, that's the more important part. It's okay to be different. It's what makes the world much more interesting. So, accepting other people's differences, the animals should have looked a little further, gotten to know Pig before they thought, you just don't belong. You should go away. Hmm, maybe you came up with another lesson. Since we talked about persistence in the book, maybe you came up with a lesson and found proof in the book about never give up. Because after all, in the end, Pig did find some new friends, didn't he? Here's what I want you to think about as you continue reading your books at home. I want you to make sure that you continue to look for character traits in the books that you're reading. After all, you know what I always say, if you're not thinking, you're not really reading. And I also want you to continue to read not just chapter books, but picture books and really look for those lessons in the books. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed our story today. Keep reading, second graders.